Man, I think Ntare League is becoming a cancer to alumni leagues because I heard the other day there's some kid who got money on is it Mopesa, M-Pesa? Man must have received money in Kenyan shillings. And then there's kids that have opened up accounts, dollar accounts and
Yeah,
all that.
actually,
I don't know what's going on in this league, but
people have gone ahead to receive money in dollars and
wow,
pounds,
wow,
not just
wow.
our Ugandan shillings, but in dollars and pounds.
People are breaking the bank. I think
Yes.
the shield is over time it has become so prestigious.
Yeah.
You just need to have it. So people are willing to go all the way. They're willing to break the bank for these guys. What a time to be a young
So
player in the league.
because there's a kid who posted the other day and he's like there's money he had gotten, he went to withdraw it and it couldn't be withdrawn because it was not in a Ugandan currency. So the kid kept asking these guys, what's going on? How am I going to? These guys have sent me
Liquidate this
money.
money.
I'm broke. How am I going to make
Cash it
this
out.
money help me work and all that? And then before he knew it, they sent him an email. And now when they said in that email was as if in like view once. Like you read this email for a short time. After reading this email, if you agree,
You
then you
accept
can
terms and
probably withdraw
conditions
the money. I think that's why the money was not coming off the wallet. But now
of the account.
if you view the email and then you maybe decline the offer or something,
The money
just
It's a conditional offer.
Someone, I don't know about you guys, but me, I think it's gonna be scary.
It's definitely
It's
going
gonna
to
be
be
scary.
this is going to be one of the most, and I think as time goes, every year we shall have one of the most competitive transfer windows.
Yes.
Because the stakes are high, the vibe is right.
Yeah, actually,
And the hype is real.
This is making the league start thinking about putting in place a transfer tribunal that can manage some of these transfers.
Sure.
Yeah, such that
It
at
will
the
be
end of the
important.
day, we're able to monitor who goes where. Also, the league is thinking about we can earn like a 50k, 100
Off the
100K
transfers.
off each transfer. So,
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah,
I feel like a lot of money gets exchanged
because
during this transfer window.
because if you look at the number of players that move from team to team, it's a good number where you can, if it is let's say 50,000 each player, just 50,000, the league can make about 10 million.
I would not be opposed to that. It sounds like a nice idea.
So I think that's also. But anyway, you guys, I think just put that money in circulation. It's,
Put the money in
in Uganda, it's not
circulation.
easy to see very many currencies, dollars, dirham.
Yeah, actually,
Put it in
Put
circulation.
that money in circulation
Actually,
and the boys cook.
Someone was saying that put the kids in saturation. Let them test money.
They're asking for too much. We are not willing to do that.
Anyway, you guys, welcome to yet another episode of Mr. Vamos Dissects. This is going to be a continuation of the video that was probably giving you an insight on who the TY Omujuma lads are.
Yep.
Or maybe how did they start their journey into the league. And today we're just going to give you guys what happened in the season that led to the TY becoming the Royal Champions. In sets, we have the much coveted Shield. Shield, we'll start from there. Someone called it a piece of wood the other day, but there's a lot more to think about that piece of wood than just a piece of wood. There's bragging rights, there's everything in it.
You see, when you talk about this piece of wood, this is something that makes people not sleep. Exactly. You're going to have a lot of sleepless nights because you're working hard to get this thing, and before you get it,
all I can say, you should get it.
Work hard to get
it. It feels different.
You get this shield. In all that you do, make sure that you win this shield.
Of course, I'm joined by Museveni of captaincy. Nothing changes.
Yeah.
Mr. Mugera Brian
Mr. Mugera Brian
Paul. You can show them the medal again.
And the medal, as always, I told you I didn't take this off. There's not a time that this medal has been off my body ever since FortPortal, and it's not about to get off. So
yeah, I confirmed last week. I went to his office, and his workmates were already complaining about the stench and all. It was really crazy. He's not leaving that medal on his. And of course, on my left, I don't know, Ruben Amorim, Eric Ten Hag, Macheda, Bright, Abajo, whatever. From last week, I failed to get his actual name. But yeah, of course, I'm joined by the royal coach, Macheda.
Yeah, we are.
And of course, today we're just going to give you guys what happened in the season. Yeah. We're going to start with for TY, I think. So I had for TY to start competing last season majorly. Maybe to think about it, TY had to have like a revamp in leadership, right?
Yep.
So I think you guys are going to take us through how that really took course in it. Yeah. I don't know who is going to take it away from there.
I think the leadership part was very important, I know you call me the Museveni of captaincy, but it was super important for us to change leadership because the leaders that were there at the time had been with TY right from inception. Okay. So they had all those seasons that we're talking about during the last episode, right from Nambole leading up to Chigali. And nothing much had changed really. Pretty much nothing had changed. So it was so important to have new people on board, but fresh energy, fresh ideas, and fresh. There's burnout, especially when you've knocked so much at this door and it's not opening. There's burnout. Yeah, for everyone it cuts across, and you don't want to channel that energy down as the leaders into the next people. So it was super important for us to onboard a new team, and we did exactly that, right from the chairman to the people in charge of mobilization, the treasurers, the captain himself. Yeah. So I on that note, I think I'm free of the 70 title of captain.
So you handed
over. I handed up peacefully, most important.
And then how come you guys said hand over power, but Macheda did not hand over? Man remained on the thing.
I think it was also important to have someone that we could not do. What did they call it? A fundamental change. We did not want a fundamental change.
Actually, when you talk about that, there was we had conversations about that, and we really thought that we should make an overhaul of the whole committee.
Okay.
But internally, people thought that it would be important for us not to change everything in as far as the pitch matters were concerned.
Okay.
So even me, when I thought that, you know what, let me just go, let me just become a fan, and I start just cheering my team. But colleagues engaged me, and they're like, you know what, let's continue this journey. And that's how I stayed. Had to talk to my assistants.
We had you actually have assistants? Is this the Uganda Premier?
Yeah, we had. One of the things that we actually made clear was that we reinforce that team.
Okay.
And we make sure that assistants are there. Now we have Abraham, who has been the first assistant, and then Courage has been also supporting the team. Yeah, and that's how the coaching team had to stay, but pretty much working along with the new leadership that had been put in place.
And I think something that Brighton has hinted on that was important is we did not necessarily have a lot of failure on pitch. So the pitch issues did not have to change that much. Okay. Besides, what we're failing to do was to cross that last hurdle.
Yeah.
It wasn't necessarily that we were having failures on the pitch. We were having decent irregular performances, erratic performances. It was consistency right from the word go. The Ginger season, we played very well, leading up into a final. We played another beautiful season with a few ups and downs, but we played another beautiful final leading up to Chigali. So it wasn't really an on-pitch issue. And that's primarily also why I feel like there was no need to change the coaches, for example.
Yeah.
Because they were doing everything, majority of the things right.
So basically, you changed the chairman. That was from Stevo.
From Stevo to
Ngasira. And one of the things I remember to note is that, of course, I think the president is do they call them a poet? Do they like those guys who write stuff? I think you guys can also go and check his what's that thing called again? His blog is actually a blogger.
Very wonderful writer.
There's some beautiful piece that he wrote the other day about maybe getting to become a president of TY, because also he had noticed that there was a lot of not wanting to leave power. There was like a power struggle. So of course he took over from Stevo, and in what he wrote, he said that it looked like it was going to be an uphill task for him.
Yeah.
But then it was poetic for him to become maybe president and for Kagezi to become captain, because these are guys that after the Road to Portportal was launched, these are guys that figured, if I win this shield in Fort Portal, I think I might win it from home, and I might even come back married. So I think we'll be having Kagezi on set. We want to find out if he actually left Fort Portal with maybe a budget.
You never know.
Wedding budget or something.
So.
Pato, Chairman Pato, I'm hoping you probably also have like a budget, because I think what you promised the team was maybe a shield, and they got the shield. And then they also promised the team that they would not come back
empty-handed.
Yeah.
I think it's very important for our leadership. I actually urge Chairman, please, you need to do something about it. There is only one way a man like Mr. Vamos is going to draw some inspiration.
True.
Please, don't be a president just of the team, please.
Really lucky.
You need to lead us on this other side as well.
So now I think that the leadership change was very instrumental for you guys.
Yeah.
And I think
truly
the,
was.
the only way that you guys could test that this leadership was actually looking for silverware was when they went on to launch the Crichton Cup. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I think defying all the odds, this is the very first time that Ntare Lions League is unleashing a Crichton Cup,
Yeah.
which is equivalent to a community shield. So I just want to understand what's in the minds of the players. You've just lost in Kigali.
Yeah.
You're now coming to a Crichton Cup, which is new. Maybe this is a chance for you guys to redeem yourself and get confidence.
Yeah,
So maybe Macheda, you can take me through that because I think you are still.
yeah. So
His first test after Kigali.
yeah, after Kigali, one of the things that we were looking at was how do we reinforce and refresh our team, because of course you know that after a very long season, some people will probably get tired. Some people they'll be having some doubts on how the next season comes and the next step.
ACLs, cramps. What?
Yeah, but the most important thing was one, to make sure that we bring in new energy within the team.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course, for the players that we had the road to Kigali, some of them had said that they would wish to leave. And of course, as TY, we have never been there to stop anyone from pursuing what they want to do. If they want to go and play for another team, yeah, we always, yeah. When some of them said they wanted to leave, also us were thinking about how do we make this team a better one.
Yeah.
That's how we had to bring in Lodoi had to come in as a goalkeeper. Then we also
So just to cut you a bit there, you left the best on the last episode that we did, the best goalkeeper in the league. You guys were like,
Yes.
bro.
No, we did not. And you see, that's funny. We really did not want to lose him,
yeah, we didn't
but
want to
he
lose him.
wanted to go.
Yeah.
I think he felt like it's time, and it is time to go back
To
to
go
his
back home.
to his
Yeah.
what's it called, home club. Something
Yeah.
like
Proceed. Me, I was
His
here.
parent
Me, I'm
club.
just telling you what I had.
Yeah, because he left
He-
TY and
yeah.
he went back to Nsai, which is
Yeah.
his parent club.
Yeah.
So you'd
He had
understand.
done his time.
Yeah, because
And also remember, just as of course, it's not a nice thing to be saying, but he was facing a lot of criticism, but then also he had a lot of back-to-back final failures. I feel like it was
I think this was
He
his
had-
third
it was a
final,
down,
right?
yeah,
no,
third or fourth,
fourth.
a fourth
Wow.
final
Fourth.
that he had lost.
Wow.
So
Yeah,
Wow.
lost.
I feel like there was a part of him that felt like, I think I should just go back home. Maybe the pressure is less there, the criticism will be less. But in my opinion, it was a very big blow for us.
Yeah.
It was a very big blow for us because I thought he was an amazing shot stopper.
Very.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure. Proceed, please. Proceed.
Yeah, so when he asked to leave, we had to think. So Lodoi comes in as a new goalkeeper,
Yeah.
but also we in the midfield, we thought it was important for us to bring in some new energy. A young man who plays for the Makerere University team that we got in the final stages of the transfer window.
Yeah.
We are aware that very many teams were actually interested in him, but through
But the brothers' axis reigns supreme.
I
think TY is actually revolving on
I don't think that is the reason.
brotherhood and blood. I'll say that again.
I don't think that is the reason.
Because I don't want you to come on here and lie to us that you took to find out. I think his brother just sent him a text. You don't come to TY.
There's no tuition
you're not
for
my
you.
brother
No
again. You're
tuition.
not my
We're
brother
not giving
anymore.
you
So you
upkeep.
don't have to.
That is it.
Atesimanya, he was the last or what? Anyway, I don't know. I'm not sure about the deal, but
Yeah.
that's what I had.
Yeah, but no, as a team, we worked together to secure his signing.
Yeah.
And of course, he was coming in
joint effort.
to fill a gap that had been left by one of our best midfielders,
Turned striker.
Mr. Vamos, who for some reason asked to go and try it out elsewhere. So we thought it was important for us to bring in a new person, and then Nick comes
New energy.
in. Then after that, when Mumbere also decides to leave, we had thought we'd add in a new body in form of a striker, which we didn't do. Yeah, so that's pretty much the business that we did coming in.
But then,
FortPortal.
Yeah, coming into FortPortal, but then also for Crichton Cup in particular,
Mm.
we were lucky enough to have an addition that was part of our 60%. We got on board. AB managed to do his magic, and we had Muchiga on board. So we started Crichton Cup on a very big high.
True.
It felt like we have gone into the market and bought a defender,
Yes.
and yet we are
And
using
very
him
many
in our
people thought he was a
60%.
Mutuba. They began
Yes.
asking which house was he in. I know that
Yes.
Mochiga in him was like, man, I'll
Yeah.
just mess up these guys. How do they?
Yeah.
For all the seasons that TY had played in Ntare League, that was his first time
True.
to
Yeah.
step on pitch
Yeah.
for TY.
Yes.
And he shows up in Crichton Cup. We play, and yeah, he's actually one of the reasons, because if you recall, Crichton Cup, we didn't have Kagezi, who is
we did not.
our new captain.
Mm.
You're coming into a tournament and you don't have your captain,
Mm.
but because of his presence, Mchiga, Angalchilem Joshua comes in and shows up, and we're able to play very beautiful football.
I heard he what's that name that you guys call him? That
To
name-
Makinge.
To Makinge, yeah. So I heard that's where Owen must have gone at the concept of like pocketing, because
From that moment on, he decided to.
Yeah, for a very long time,
Makinga.
people have always known him to be one of the best man markers.
Yeah, he truly is.
And of course, when he comes in to play, he really shows that.
Yeah.
First of all, he's a leader. He
Yes.
brings in a lot in
Yes.
as far as leadership skills are concerned, and his ability to do a lot of things. So he makes sure that he comes in, plays very beautiful football. One of the best things about him is that he's comfortable on the ball.
Yeah.
Sure.
He can receive that ball, pass it, not just hoof it there.
So he's not like Patch or PSG that you're
Thank
hitting
you.
on. So I think
Yeah.
I also think from the sidelines, because now some of us, you guys just start from the team, but of course we were rooting for the team from out there. And now for someone like Tumakinge, me, I'd probably give him his flowers for the Crichton Cup, because
He had a
I think for
massive
somebody
performance.
who has not really played the league, I think entire league is very demanding. For someone that has not played the entire league before, and to come and put up a performance like that, it was not something that's a very usual thing. So I think the man.
Actually, to be clear, until game week 8 or 9, because he had been playing until game week 8 or 9, I'll tell you that we conceded most of our goals in the Road2FortPortal season.
After he went to Sweden, right?
After he decided he had work commitments that
didn't go to Sweden. I thought
that took him away. So, but because of him, from the start of the season, we had conceded 1 goal against Mshela Abashwechi.
Yeah.
I think in the first 8-9 games we had conceded 1 to 3 goals, and it's because of him.
Yeah.
The moment he's taken up by work, that's how we concede the other remaining 6 goals, and of course that explains how important and vital he was for our team in the Road2FortPortal season.
Okay, so we're still just to wrap up the Crichton Cup bit. So Tumakinge is like one of the forces in that team, but so I heard there's also like a number of players that were not there. So I'm thinking, what do you think drives you guys to win? Because me, I was seated somewhere, I was checking on NLL News, and then you guys were losing against
Kachanchali.
I think 2-0.
Yes.
And I'm like, now this is done. So now for a team that's losing to Kachanchali is actually a very solid team when they go ahead of you.
Yeah.
So you're losing 2-0, but then somehow you somewhat begin to win games and get to the final.
Yep.
I think it was Crichton Cup was one of those tournaments where we had gone to try to prove a point and try to prove that we are still the team to beat in the league, despite all the failure that we had faced. And like you've said, we play our first game because it was being played in knockout stages.
Yes.
1 game and that's it. Whoever wins goes to the next round. We play a game against Kachanchali. We set up to win this team. We feel like we're better, we are stronger, we're more agile, we're a better team. A couple of minutes into the game is 2-0. And it's not just 2-0, it's 2-0 and it looks like it can get worse at any point. So I think we won the game in the last 4 minutes of the match. We got a penalty.
Which you scored after missing very many penalties in your career.
I think I've only missed 1 penalty in my career, but please. I've only missed a penalty. But anyway, we score in the last 4 games. In the 4 minutes of the game, it ends 2-2. We go into spot kicks.
Yeah.
We managed to take them out on spot kicks.
Yeah.
Okay.
From that point on, I feel like we had better performances besides the final itself, where we went down again 1-0. But there was never a point in the final that it seemed like we are in a lot of danger. It was just a matter of time.
Yeah.
We kept on building the game. I felt like we were very dominant once again. Kudos to our defense. And you people have highlighted how important Mochiga was, but Owen put up for us very solid performances in that Crichton Cup. Very solid performances.
As a centre-back.
Especially as a centre-back in the last game against Machado, the final itself.
Yeah.
And honestly, that the winning the Crichton Cup, the feelings then, when I look back, it was worth it.
Yeah,
It was such a nice feeling.
when
Finally have
when you've
something.
been knocking on that door for a long time
Mm.
and no one is opening, but all of a sudden they open, then you peep what is inside. So that's a feeling that we had after winning Crichton Cup.
Yeah.
To the extent that we say that now we have the energy
To get into the season.
to go in and compete in the season. And for all our performances within the season, all that energy came from what we had from Crichton Cup.
And I think it was also good for our banter. At least finally we could say
Win something.
something.
Yeah.
Say something.
Yeah.
Because we're getting a lot of smack for failing, winning trophies and all that. Yeah.
So that's really interesting. So I think that's where the journey to peeping at good stuff starts. Yeah.
Yep.
So now I think so now interestingly you've now finished winning the Crichton Cup. The league is about to start. Just like the season before.
Yeah.
Your opener, the season before the opener was Kalele after
Yes.
they beat you in
Ginger.
Yes.
So now this other season that is starting now, the season Road to Fort Portal,
Yeah.
you face Inshera.
On our place,
Yes.
on our opening
And now
game.
you know the history has it that TY has not beaten Inshera since
Yeah.
they started playing in
That's
the league.
that's the truth.
That
And
is
now
true.
because of the results that you guys did Kalele after losing, so it looks like now you guys are pumped up. You guys have beef and all that. So I just want to understand what was the emotion then. So first game of the season, new season, you guys are playing in Shira. These are guys that humbled you in Chigali.
Gali.
And now, of course, I usually see guys in the group saying, how are we playing in Shira? How are we playing in Shira? And all that. So I'm thinking, for the guys that have lost the final, what are you thinking going into this game? So maybe I just want you guys to maybe walk us through the Shira game. And then I want to know what are like those games in the season that were maybe I'd probably call them hits or misses. And then how do these games inspire you guys to maybe cook something and probably get to the final? Because if I was to give the viewers a hint on the final leading to Chigali, there's a time where you guys had to sweat to get into the final after leading for like a whole period of time.
Yeah.
So you had to play against a Shimba which recruited players from Vietnam, Baghdad, Pakistan, and all those other countries just to come and play one game
Yeah.
that would prevent TY from going to the final. Yeah. So I just want to understand those 4 games. I'm sure that maybe stood out for you and what really happened. And now for you, from the coaching point of view, what was your inspiration to the boys? What do you think went in there?
Playing Shera as a first match in season 15, it was actually very tricky. Why? Because one, we wanted to prove a point that remember, this is a team that we've been playing but we've never won against. So one of the inspirations was we go in there, win, and show them that much as they won in Kigali, but we are still a stronger team.
Sure.
But also we wanted to get that first win against them. But then when we come in to play the game, remember it was at Kampala Quality.
Yeah.
Some of our players come in late. See,
Typical TY stuff.
yeah, of course.
Overly confident.
Yeah, they're very confident. You see, one Crichton Cup. Yeah, these are going to be our people. But also some people are probably late because of the other family commitments, which of course you can't run away from. But when we come, we set up. I've been seeing people say that those guys that we are playing against Biets, someone are saying, how can you fit to Boston Shera's midfield? And like, but you know all those people. But what I would say is that, you see, if you're on Shera as a big team, the mentality of staying in the game, it will, what we call pedigree. That's the truth.
That's true.
Pedigree. That's what we're playing against. You see, they might have had Mfitu by no.
One man was actually playing like Rodri.
Yes.
That day.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that particular team had gone all those games unbeaten before.
Yes. Yeah.
Probably what, like something like 40 or something.
40,
No, they had not
40
lost
games.
in 2 years.
In 2 years.
You see,
There's a reason.
So we're playing against a team that had not lost in a long time, but also a team that we have never
beaten in
in the league. So
maybe something that people forget. Leading up, Okay, wait, you remember what happened after Ginger? We
Yes.
lose a final to Kalere.
Karere.
First game of the season, we play Kalere. By end of first half, the game is 3-0 in our
Yes,
favor.
yes.
So we've proven a point. We are making our stamp that Ginger was a fluke.
Yeah.
So we have the same energy, but this time around, what's different is we've won Crichton Cup. They won the league.
Yes.
And this whole time, we're trying to, as much as possible as TY,
Yes.
we are pushing for an agenda that we play a game between the winner of the Crichton Cup against the winner of the Shield for a trophy that is given at the beginning of the season.
Yeah.
So we are pushing this agenda because everyone is psyched up. We've seen what we've done in Crichton Cup. We are hungry to revenge.
So yeah.
This does not work out. But then what works out is we choose, when we are choosing the teams to play the season, the fixture, we get that team. So in Share for a long time, we were heavily against the winner of Crichton, against the winner of the Shield, because they knew, I think at that point they had not fully regrouped. Some of their players were not around. That's why that game of ours, they did not have a decent number of their players. So we are getting into that game. We are super psyched. We want that game. They are trying everything possible to make sure it does not happen. But then now, luck comes at our side. We get the game that we've been wanting.
Yeah.
Everyone is psyched up. We know this is our chance. Let us prove our point. I've not played against a team with a low block as heavy as the game Nshera played against us in the first match of the season.
Yeah.
Because I can assure you, and I always tell the one man this, we could have played an extra 10 minutes of that game, and I'm sure we would not score.
Yeah.
Because you would beat the first person, there's a second person. After beating the second person, there's a third, a fourth, and a keeper.
Yeah.
And yet we're talking about like almost three quarters into their half.
Yes.
Yeah. That's how bad it was.
Yeah.
We played all those minutes.
Look at the goal that we scored. Yeah. How you see it was just a long shot by Kagezi.
Very, very unusual goal for Olugai to concede.
Yes.
They told me Kagezi just so poo.
Yes, and also it's a very rare goal that TY scores on that day.
Yeah.
Because
we never hit the ball like that.
I think we've not been able to score such very long range. I don't even know.
A free kick from almost our half.
Yeah, I can't even say it was a long range, but it was just a free kick that he was just trying to.
And it's surprising that it was considered against, he scored against Olugai. He never, he could probably hold that ball with one hand on a good day.
One of the best
just one of those days.
But
we also considered a very silly goal in my opinion.
Yeah.
Not in my opinion, it definitely was a very silly goal. It's just a spill from the keeper.
Yeah, and then
Peter scores 1-1. We gave that game our all. One man always cracks a joke. He says, like 3 hours after the game, he was still sweating. Like after our match, he was still sweating because of the distance he covered during that game. But they put up such a solid performance, and I think it goes back to what Cheddar had mentioned. Pedigree. The team you're playing against just does not lose matches.
Yes. And
that's why they've gone 2 years without losing.
Lost in a long time. Yeah. So of course, there was a bit of struggle. We wanted to win, we didn't win. It ends 1-1.
So yeah, that's now Nshera. That's one. So you're now left with 3 games.
Yep. My second game would definitely be our game against Abashweti. Because of a lot of reasons. I feel like they are one of our biggest rivals.
Yes.
Like aside from Kalere.
Yes.
Of course, Kalere for obvious reasons. I think Abashweti also for obvious reasons. They are here above us.
Yes.
And they feel like they can handle us, which in my opinion is not true and it's not factual. The stats over time do not show that. And fine, they could be 3-time champions and everything, but it wasn't against us.
Yeah, in the last
we've won those games. I don't think they have a win against us.
In the last 5 matches, they have not won any game.
Besides that game at Kepier, when none of us were playing, stuff like that.
They have not.
That's the only win they have against us.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So, but anyway, it was an interesting game. It rains. They lead the game.
Yeah.
1-0.
And they are playing a very
low block.
Very low block.
It's raining. It's a low block. We've conceded another fairly, I would say, not very convincing goal.
I think that's that goal you guys, maybe there was like a lapse in concentration.
Yes. Yeah, we consider that goal.
Yeah. We get a red card at some point. We equalize the game. It becomes 1-1.
That red card now was some real kung fu.
Yeah. So Timo comes in as a substitute, gets a red card.
Yeah.
And
we're down to 10 men. We have a couple of minutes, maybe 5 minutes to look for 5-6 minutes to look for that one winning goal.
Yeah, but also before Timo gets that red card, he assists a goal that Jose scores that equalizer.
Yeah.
And all of us are like, we are back in the game. Then after we have scored the goal, we consider a red card. He gets a red card and is out. are down to nine men against 10.
But you know, another thing that this is something that there's a lot of smack that goes on and banter, right?
Yeah.
I always hear people say TY does not have the mentality. Like every time someone says that, I just think to myself, there's no way this person watches games. I don't know how many times you just don't watch our games because I don't know of any game of TY that I've played or that I've been on the sidelines watching, and people have not fought till the exact last minute of the match. We're probably among the teams that have the most last minute wins, including what we did in Fort Portal. It is never over until it's over. And that was one of those games. We scored in like the dying minutes of that match. But we pushed them with 10 men, pushed them to the wall until they made a mistake.
Yes, but also
and
that
we penalized them for that.
That match was very special because our Stretch and TY are rivals.
Big
so
rivals.
One of the things that we needed to win for us, for our season to be what it became,
out to be,
we had to make sure that we win against our Stretch.
Yeah.
Why? Because we wanted to get a momentum, go in and win all those matches. And
you can tell for such games, such games in particular, games like Abashoche, the celebrations after the game are always, they show you how important that particular match is. The iconic Owen picture, celebrating very beautiful picture
and videos after that.
The
celebrations after those particular matches show you what
because
such games
because I
mean to
remember
us.
It rains and every one of us, even those that were on the touchline, we stayed there. It rained on us.
It rained on you guys. I remember that.
You remember very well. We first took off disease, then he comes back on. You know, we tried to do
and
all
he assists
those. When he comes back on,
he assists Jose
for the winning goal. And we had to do a lot of things in there to make sure that we get a win in that game.
I think in similar spirit, if I'm talking about games, I'll talk about the Kashani game as well, because it's similar in the sense of
that's the one where you guys scored at midnight.
That's the game we scored deep down in. Because for it, there's a lot of emotion involved in the game, but then it's also another game that you're pushing until the very last minute to get a winning goal.
Now, you see, how special that game was is that we had just lost one of our colleagues.
Yeah.
True.
Alan had just passed away, and for everyone that knew Alan, is that he was TY was him. He was TY, like everything. Because one of the people that started TY was Alan. Alan, before season 15, had been our head of mobilization.
He did not have a particular role. He just everything.
Everything.
He was doing mobilization, he was doing facilities, he's doing a lot of things. At some point, he was even treasurer.
Even keeping the money for the team. So when Alan,
before we had proper structures.
Remember, Alan was HP 2013-14, and one of the things that, of course, he's been our leader. So when he passed on, every one of us is like,
it's an emotional match.
And of course, the next match, you see, for every other thing that the league does, to
launch those beautiful shots that you're putting on.
But also just to catch you, so I think shout outs to the league for all the love that they showed, Alan. I think the only thing that I got to learn in there was that you need to leave a mark on earth when you maybe when the Lord takes you, because I think all the branding, all the posters that the league made that day were Alan. And everyone actually paid tribute to Alan, and for the TY, I think, and for everyone, it was very befitting for a man like that to have impacted very many people like that in a way.
So that's why that game becomes a very emotional game. That we are celebrating the life of one of our cores, one of those people that has been with us, not just with us, our friend. He's been friends with everyone. You know, you're going to the bio with Alan, you're going to Mattia, you know, everything.
Quiz,
band,
everything.
We used to do it with him. So that match, what is on our mind was we need to win for him. But also, as we are planning to win it for him, Kashani had other ideas of we can disrupt this. But
not in bad faith.
Yes.
They are also, of course, a soccer team. They also want to win matches, so you can't.
But one of the things that if you saw how much we're willing to fight, because we fought from minute one, we concede a very bogus goal.
We score and immediately concede. Like we score the goal,
in the next
the ball
2
gets
seconds,
to the center. It started and we concede a goal.
We concede a very foolish goal.
And remember that day in particular, we started our games a little late, a little late, significantly late. So that means it gets dark and we're playing less minutes. for all the matches.
So it's
So
actually
that's why
correct you guys scored at midnight.
we scored at midnight, but because we had started at 11:30, we played 15 minutes of each half.
Yeah. So
It was such a short game, by the way. When we scored and the game was when we scored we scored our winning goal and eventually they blow the whistle for
restart.
For restart for the end of the game. We still had minutes, ideal on time.
Yeah.
Like we still could have played for another maybe 7 minutes, but it was too late. It was becoming too dark. Another beauty about the Kashani game is the person who scored against Kashani, our winning goal, is a Kashani player, and he had told us he
captain TY, right?
Yeah. And he loves the team so much. He loves the Kashani team so much, and he had vowed he can never celebrate if he scores against them. Unfortunately, that day he scores. It's too much. The emotions are a lot. He goes to celebrate, then he remembers, this is actually Kashani.
I hadn't planned to do
stops midway.
But
it was such a beautiful goal in terms of what it meant to us. You could see from the celebrations, the intensity, the jubilation. It meant so much to us.
The person who scores the first goal, our first goal, Jose, who scored our first goal, the way how he goes to celebrate, and all of us are immersed in that celebration. And we are doing this for Alan, and then I think for some reason the players switched off. They thought we are there. But and then that's how we get to consider that goal, because
the other
thought
thing,
we are there.
Yeah, that's a very important point, because Jose does not celebrate his goals.
Like that.
He never celebrates his goals. He went and just slid.
He slid on the floor of. And everyone's like, he does.
Jose never celebrates. He has scored so many goals. I think probably, honestly, if you asked me if I scored a goal, there's no I would not celebrate, because probably they don't come often.
I get
they don't come often, but he bags so many goals and he never really celebrates. It's like they don't mean too much to him.
But also
that particular
goal was very
important.
I think it was very special.
Very special to him.
So game number 4.
Yes. So from the other important game of the season that we had, see, there's this team. I think we've not had a win against them.
No.
Even when we have been able to dominate the league for the last 3 seasons. Kashani, we've so far played Kasasi. We've played 3 games. 3 games in the 3 seasons, and we've not had a win against them. And these boys are always using this against us.
And rightfully so. Honestly, I would never let the champions of the league have any sleep if I know they have never won a game.
So here when you guys are going
and we're not just not winning, we're actually losing matches. You see, TY rarely, like at the end of the season, we have maybe 3, at most maybe 3 losses, majority of the time. Sometimes it's even 1, like when we went to Ginger, I think we had 1. Aka Chisianga loss. Chisianga loss.
Tsianga.
Then the next season we had a Kachanchali loss and a Kasasi loss. We rarely have more than 3 losses.
And then Abazibo loss.
But they're always part of those people.
So
the very first time we played them,
Kasasi, I'm sure you even failed to say that name. That's how bad it is.
Kasasi is okay. How this in quotes rivalry starts with them is we play a game of football. We lead the game 2-0. In like the first 20 minutes of the game, it rained so much.
Season 12.
It rained so much in that season. It rained so much, so the game has to be postponed. So the game is 2-0. We've played like, let's say 20 minutes.
It was actually, we had played 11 minutes
of the game, and it was already 2-0.
And who had scored?
Boaz had scored both goals.
Had scored those 2 goals, just to be specific.
Unusual goal scorers. Yes. Probably that's why we are haunted.
Maybe
that's probably the reason. Why is Boaz scoring 2 goals in one game? That is the reason we are paying for that.
Then the remaining part of the game, the league agrees that we shall have to play it at a later stage. Then we get one of those weekends when
and by the way,
when there's time.
Just before you forget, Kasasi had also lost someone.
They lost a defender.
One of their
like shortly after.
Actually before that game.
No, shortly after. Our first game, when we played, I think he played our game. He died after.
Okay,
so that's why that game was actually partially important to them. You remember for a long time we were asking ourselves, why do we need to play this game? Because we've already led the game 2-0.
Yes.
The league is failing to find space to make us play. So we're going to have to play 2 games in one day, which is something that we did not want to do. So for the longest time we're having discussions with them to just forfeit the match and let the score go 2-0 and we have it done. They refused. They were so convinced. There's something about their demeanor that gave them the confidence that this 2-0 we can overturn this score. And they actually did. Because we started the next game when they eventually rescheduled it. We start the game, Kevin heads the ball into the net. It becomes 3-0.
But
they came back from behind and the game ended 3-3. That
So,
is
so
that's
I see
very
you guys are
decent.
about to cry on set. I just want to know now
Yeah.
about this particular
Yeah.
one for this season.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So of course we are just giving a preamble of probably why
The
probably
Kasasi
yeah,
How
rivalry.
yeah,
serious it is.
we are not getting the results
Mm.
from Kasasi.
Yeah.
And of course it started from that particular match. But in this particular match, of course we wanted to show, we wanted to have that win against them, because we couldn't stand these kids keep on saying, you guys have been dominating the league, but
Not us.
but
Not against
you've
us.
not had any win against us. And I'll tell you that we come in this game, we're certain that we're going to win this game.
Yeah.
But you see, we come in, we actually play one of the best matches that we've played. We passed the
At
ball
some point in the
yes,
game. It
yeah.
started really slow. They
Yeah,
really
then-
had. I
then
feel
we
like they
do-
were a
we do
better
a lot
team
of
for
things. Then we
first half.
score a goal.
Yeah. Disease scores a very beautiful goal.
Yes.
Uses his
His
typical
body,
disease thing.
then-
Uses his body, protects,
Yeah.
gets the ball, puts it into
Yeah,
the back of
scores
the
a
net.
goal.
We considered 2 silly goals in my opinion
Yes,
again.
another city goal.
Then we missed so many chances. It's like
We were
the
unable-
stars just never aligned for us
we were
against those
actually,
guys.
that match, I think it's one of those matches that we're unable to convert our chances in there.
Yeah.
And
It was really one of
of
those.
course that I'll tell you that Kasasi game was actually a wake up call
Yeah.
to us of what we want to do in the football season.
Yeah.
And actually it turns out to it shapes our direction, because how we bounce back is that we come win those matches until when we
Draw
lost.
against Bonfubs.
Draw against Bonfubs, then lose against Karere. But it just shapes
Yeah.
our mentality for us to come back to the drawing board and realize that we actually needed to win matches for us to play the final in Porto.
So yeah, we're now joined by the captain TY. Of course,
Royal captain.
After Museveni handed over to him, the man actually took the helm. But I think just to start
The
him
man
off,
that delivered us to the promised land. Who is that? In the Bible it is.
Moses.
Moses does not deliver them, but
Yeah.
he.
I don't know the
Oh my God! You people do not know the Bible like that, but okay.
No, but I think you guys should start coming to St. Francis.
St.
I just
Francis
have
is
a
my
headache. I
church.
would have told you, but I just have a headache.
Probably Joseph.
So I think
Joseph.
we're going to start him off with the first game that we're talking about that was very pivotal for TY's season. That's the game against Bonfubs.
Boom.
The only thing I remember about that game is that this guy here came late for that game. And now, just like we've spoken about before, is that TY has this thing where they're like, oh man, this is like any normal game. We're just going to go and cook spots. So this man comes at whichever time he comes, and there's like a circus. I just want you to take me through what really transpired on that day.
On that day, actually, it was a normal day like any other.
Yeah, sure.
So we show up for the game, reaching on the pitch, we are about 8 people.
In total,
the players, then the others are fans.
Hey.
We look for our captain, our Museveni.
This is Museveni.
The guy is nowhere to be seen. We call the guy tells us he's in jam.
Hey. Just there.
We wait 30 minutes later, the guy is still in jam.
Hey.
The refs call us on pitch. We find ourselves with our goat Stivo. And we had Maria Mungu there. We had, I think, Louis and some other guys who don't usually play.
Yeah.
So we saw, guys, do you know what? Let our goat Stivo start. So we find ourselves, we've started with a weaker team, and also we are playing guys who are tricky. We could play that game on any other game. Let's say we could pull out those tricks, but this was a tight game because Bonfubs is very, very, very.
Just so to help you on how impressive Bonfubs was last season. Those guys had not lost the whole year. When 2025 started, those guys went on a run. The worst thing that they would do was getting a draw.
Yeah.
So we reach in the game, we start playing, we miss some couple of chances because we weren't coordinated in that game. Actually, we were totally off.
Sure.
And Steve, of course, missed some blanks there, he missed some sitters. But of course, you can't
blame the goat.
You can't blame the goat, he's a goat. So, as the game is into play, the main man comes like 20 minutes
after the jam of
I don't know what jam that was, but jam.
It was traffic, guys. That day was crazy.
So the guy comes into the game.
Hey.
I'm on pitch and I'm saying, why can't my man come on?
Hey.
But I don't know, I'm not the coach. So the coach doesn't bring him on at the first half. So we come in second half.
Hey.
Because in the first half, we've already lost momentum.
Hey, true.
And we're already disorganized mentally. And those guys were better than us mentally because you could see them, they could get the ball, pass, contain us, and they were already in shape. For us, we were disorganized.
Yeah.
So we reach in second half. Because now we're on pressure of scoring.
Yeah.
So we become complacent. So I remember it was a corner kick. I go up front.
So I hear Mbuyo Mwenda. In your other leagues, you're a king, so
Mwenda.
I don't know.
Mwenda is Mwenda.
Trust
9
those
is
guys.
9.
9 is 9. And
Hey.
I want to appeal to TY next year.
Hey.
Give me that shirt number.
I think you can tell those guys directly. They need to
Really?
know.
Coach Cheddar should know.
Coach Cheddar should know that
Next season.
if they give me that shirt number 9, 30 goals.
What statement of
Ah,
30 goals?
that's a statement.
No,
statement.
we've marked that. We're not going to.
So we reach on the corner. I think it was Mugera who took the corner, right?
Yeah, I think I'm
Mugera took the corner. The keeper, I think, punches. It comes back. Remember, we are all in attack.
Yeah.
We have left our Lord Kevin in the back.
Hey,
So
Mugore Kevin.
Mugole Kevin.
now Mogole, yeah.
Now they switched the ball so fast to our box that it was only Mugole Kevin and Lord Tevas who were there. So Mugole Kevin, I think, wanted to do some tricks. So Mugole Kevin was, I think, doing some side steps in the back. Mugole Kevin mysteriously misses the ball.
Hey,
The Bonfov striker immediately.
keyword mysteriously.
Yeah.
Keyword
It was a
because
mysterious case because you can't miss
You
that
put
ball.
in control, like you just put it out
It was
there.
just a matter of controlling the ball, and but the guy misses the ball, and
Hey.
their striker was right behind him. He just takes one step.
that's
left.
Betho, is it?
Yeah,
Man was actually on
It
fire.
was actually, it was a decent finish. It was
Actually,
a decent
fire.
Against
Yeah.
the ball is 1-on-1 against our keeper. So there's nothing we could do.
Done.
That's around the, I think, the 50. It was like 47 minutes out of the 60
Yeah.
play.
True.
We were left with around 13 minutes to equalize and also.
We probably get
winning
away.
goal.
So now we get on pressure. We start hitting. And
True,
that
true,
girl-
true.
We hit so many.
we hit so many
posts.
posts,
It was
so many
crazy.
blocks. Kafubs was very, very solid.
Yeah,
Mm.
they
Even
were.
I commend those guys because, man,
There's,
They contained a lot of pressure.
they contained a lot of pressure.
And you know, we're playing at KPA, so everyone is here, understands
the
we're scoring
standard
that goal.
KPA is very
Every time
crazy.
they
Right.
clear the ball, you can
Yes.
see the
The
cheers
moment-
and how everyone is
The
excited.
moment
Drains your
Kafubs
energy.
scored that goal, that's when I saw that we have no fans. I really
They
thought
really
we had
had no
some few fans, but
Yeah.
when they scored us that goal,
Yeah.
the whole pitch was up.
Yeah,
hey,
yeah,
So we started containing. We contained. I think it was around the 53rd minute.
yeah.
Around like 55th minute, around 5 minutes to go.
Mm.
We get an equalizer through
Philo, I think.
was it Sam
Philo.
or Philo?
I think it was Philo.
One of those two
Must
scored.
have been MVP, yeah. MVP used to come through with clutch goals.
It was Sam actually.
I think
Sam.
probably
Sam.
one of the two. A
Sam-
shot.
yeah, Sam scores
probably
the
was
ball.
Sam. Mm.
Now because it's already too late, we couldn't. We tried all we could in that game,
Mm.
and eventually it ended 1-1.
Yeah.
Okay.
But the points I could take out of that game is it opened our eyes.
True,
Remember
true.
after the
The
game,
real
we
wake
had
up
the
call.
heated judgment. I personally called my captain and told him, man, going forward, you should
You
always
need to
be
be
on
the-
time. You should.
Yeah.
Our game management should be key.
Yeah.
You finish replacing that guy. The guy is big
Yeah, the
headed.
guy is always
Not
in
big
jam. I
headed,
don't know
but
which kind of
This
jam.
jam, and let people come here on time.
Yeah,
Eh,
reach
it's
here.
the one of, yeah.
our captain is in jam. Disease is also in jam.
Yeah.
So people always come late. But after that game, actually it was an eye opener because we had become complacent. We
Yeah.
had become comfortable there.
Yeah, sure.
And
You guys were saying.
And I think
on
like
top
like
you
like
were-
like Kagezi has said, it was, you know, when you win over a long period of time, you're just used to winning. It feels like it becomes too easy. In your mind, you register this is a win, it's another win, it's okay.
Mm.
We can afford to be lax about some things. We're not going to take them very serious. And I think it was very important for us to draw that match. It was very important
Those
for us to
points
draw that
really,
match.
really did us good.
Yeah.
So you've left Bonfubs, you have a number of games inside there. Then
Yeah.
you face your nemesis. But meanwhile, I'm putting on a
TY.
Amazing
will
job.
never forget.
Ah,
Omujuma 12,
Tove.
SC Ntare 1.
squad
The
Squad
streets
by
will
Pema.
never forget.
By
Squad by
Pema.
Pema, just like we said in the last episode.
We're going to change the
Pema,
shirt.
we will
Add his
maybe
name
we'll
down
put
there. Down
we'll
here.
put his
Pema.
photo somewhere here.
put
Yeah,
him in
that's
his
it.
in his kasut.
Put him in
Yeah,
his suit.
Or dreadlocks. One of the two shall decide.
So now TY takes
Yeah.
on Kalere at a
Mm.
time where Kalere actually needs this result.
It really
to
needed
somewhat
that result.
look at the final properly to somewhat reach Mubende. Because
Yeah.
if they take on this final, they reach Mubende at least.
If they lose that
Chegegwa
final or
Mubende.
draw, it's a wrap for
But
them. They
I
don't play the
think-
final.
Kalere has, how do they call them? Abasawa Baganda, how do they call them? How do I use it?
Which
better?
doctors? Traditional
Traditional
herbalist.
Yeah, traditional
Eh.
herbalist. Because Kalere, there's at a certain point in the league, they were not even in the equation.
Yeah.
Sure.
They were never, because it was, I think, in Sai, it was in Shera, it was
Machando, yeah, for that.
All of those guys
for the
were in the
biggest
equation.
part, yeah.
For the
For
second
some
place.
reason, Kalere came sneaking around,
Hey.
sneaking until it reached our game when it wanted those points to get into the top 2.
Yeah.
So we reached the game. The game is intense as always. The pre-match analysis, the pre-match incidences, the fans, everything was
an intense game.
Was intense. So we reached the game, we squeezed those guys.
I can't
They
believe
bleed out, like bleeding, but they failed to
they failed to just let us score. Like
they failed to take that last gasp and
what Kagezi is saying is so true that I don't think there's any TY person who left that game, fans and players, and deep down they felt like this was a big blow. Majority of us we had that feeling of it has not worked out today, but the way what we have done to them on that pitch is just a testament of what we can do. When I was talking to Nwajira, he told me, because some of those guys really take our losses, they take the hit so serious. Some of these.
Nwajira usually cries. I found Nwajira crying one time at KPS.
So, I remember we said that KPS for the longest time the numbers were okay. People were not in poor spirit because of what they had seen during that game. They probably had only one shot on target, which was the goal.
Yeah.
It was such a well-contained game. We've played them, we've dominated the middle. Their forwards are not getting the ball. Their best attempt at winning, Romfield, is playing so far deep that he's not a threat down there. So you've basically neutralized the team. And now it's just God when. It's just a matter of when. And we consider
a couple of chances that
including my side net that everyone thought had gone in.
This guy.
And then you celebrated. No, but I was still trying to investigate if you actually celebrated.
I did not celebrate.
I
ran back to the center to start the game again because I knew we have few minutes.
Boys are really mysterious, like the way Kevin missed the ball. Very mysterious.
Very mysterious ways.
But I want to give Kalere kudos because Kagezi said they did not have their playing the final was not very guaranteed. But what they did is they sorted their biggest reasons for not playing. So they won a game against Nshera that has not lost a game in, I don't know, maybe 2 years, 40-something matches. They won convincingly against Machando. They played against TY and won. Sure. So there is no way you get to the final without beating the real people that are blocking your path. True. And I will need to give them a lot of kudos. I feel like they did.
So I think
they did a lot. Like it was, they handled it, took control of the situation, and handled it for themselves.
So somewhat, I think for Kalele, I think they somewhat have that low-key Nshera mentality, because those guys know how to turn up when guys don't expect them to turn up.
Kalere
they know how to win games.
It's a big team, by the way.
They know how to win games.
That day was one of my hardest days. Because the goal we conceded, if I'm to explain it, even up to now.
But those photos that day,
because 10 out of 10 chances that ball which Romfield headed from me. I think we hit the ball and it stayed in the air. So by the time I was still looking for the ball in the air, I see our keeper
standing next to him,
flying out. Superman's like, let me save the world.
Now in my head, even if you see those photos, you see me shouting at the keeper actually
like,
before even the ball enters. Where are you going? Romfield just takes the ball and imagine of all people, Kamanzi.
I will not even lie.
Kamanzi is a baller, but imagine of all people, Kamanzi, because when those games you expect Emma, Romfield. Expect Albert before
maybe Joab, Doash story,
someone to score.
Because there's a game of moments.
You know that, but let me first assure you. You see, Kamanzi, that day, if you get his statistics,
and he
didn't stop any ball, couldn't control a ball, couldn't pass the ball, he didn't have anything going for him that day.
However,
but he went and scored a goal. You know, even that goal, if you analyze it, he had missed it. Somehow, like one of the spikes of his boot, somehow connected with the ball, but he had missed an empty net on a sitter. I was on the bench on the touch, and
I think he did his job well. He kept Kagezi very busy. He just kept in front of the goal.
To stay on me.
Yeah, that's what.
Because he did his job, he would stay on me. That means if you stay on me, you've killed one person.
True.
And now, at that point when I moved off to Mark Romfield, that means this place
is empty now. You're alone.
True.
So, Laxty there came in, and a bit of not being lucky.
Yeah.
That's
but we really played. We outplayed them. We outplayed them just like what we did in the final. But I don't
Yeah,
know.
we're
This game
we're
we just
getting.
we just
See,
couldn't
now you
win. We
want to
could
show
not
us how you're
score. We
champion.
could not.
I see now you want to show us how you're champion.
We just
Galere
failed to
is one
score.
of
I
those
don't
lucky
understand why.
guys, because
They are.
every match we have with them,
We
they always come out with luck.
Yeah.
They come out of that hole that we've dug for them.
And you can't explain. And I don't think they can explain either exactly
True.
what happened. Because anyway,
So now I think so
it is
now
what it is.
this so now Kalele. Somewhat long story short, Kalele gets into the finale.
Yeah, it
So
does.
now the finale is still why Kalele.
Yep.
I think now there's like a lot of poetry in the video that I made before the finale. I was like, I think these are two sides that really needed to be in the final.
Yeah.
Because for
They
TY that
worked their
has
way there.
beaten like 75% of the teams in the league, and for Kalele that has beaten all the big dogs in the league, it shows that these are guys we need in the finale.
Yeah.
So I just want to understand what's in the camp in that time. You guys have qualified, you've made posters. What's you guys are now looking to maybe make amends. Now for you as a as a captain that has maybe won the shield before. You've won the shield I think with Ishera maybe 2 times.
Kabali as well. There's one
Was
with
you in the
Sherrod and
Kabali thing?
yeah.
Kabali as well. So far all up, which means you won with Ishera 2 times, right?
No,
once. Ishera once, Kabali once. So and then
Now
now you're
TY.
now at the helm at TY captain.
Yes.
I'm thinking now if the captaincy was very heavy for you during the season, I'm sure it must have been heavier for you with one more kick, one more game, because
To have everything done.
this is someone because I remember the video that you made after the guys lost in must have been what Ginger, it must have been Ginger or something. I remember the video that you made, it must have been on TV at Summit. And I think maybe the guys that were looking to give you captain were like, man, I think this guy has something. We need to bring people up one something. So I just want to understand what are you thinking about in the moment? Or maybe what did you think you guys needed to do right this time?
Yeah,
just to
before we get to that, I want to thank TY for giving me the opportunity to lead.
Sure.
Yeah, I was the assistant captain I think for the past 2 seasons. Then the big man himself said, you know what?
Big man is like,
Yeah.
I think it's a Liverpool fan, Jurgen Klopp. I think he watched Jurgen Klopp.
He says, you know what? Let me retire. So the guy retires. He gives me the band.
Yeah.
And I say I'm happy to take it on because first, the final is in my home area.
True.
I've played on that Chegobe pitch for over 20 times.
Good.
And I've never lost a game there.
Oh,
Actually,
wow.
I think even I told them
Yeah.
before the final.
Yeah.
I told the pitch we're going to use, I've never lost a game. And this won't be the first time.
And I think, just sorry for cutting, I think that's that before, like, I think a few weeks before that, you had scored like a bicycle kick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's,
That's why
During
I
the
said,
the December,
December tournament,
yeah.
had scored a very wonderful bicycle kick.
hey, that's.
And actually, all my friends in Fort Portal actually came that day. They were rooting for me.
Yeah.
They were rooting for my team.
Champion.
Yeah, but before we get there,
Mm.
after we've qualified now, we go back as TY. We sit because the last 2 seasons we've lost the game because it actually lose the game the day before.
Before you actually get to kick the ball.
We lose you remember the Ginger finale? I think Yusuf the day before lost someone, so we had to gamble.
Yeah, sure.
We lost in Chigali. There was many internal challenges. We again lost. So this time we sit with the management and we see, you know what, we have to align. We have to fill in those gaps. So the first thing we do is we bring Coach Issa. Initially, he was just to take us through drills and what. But with him, we saw the impact he was bringing. We said, you know what, let's take this guy to 40.
Yeah.
And actually, that was one of the best decisions
that we made. Yeah.
Because the guy really
understood football
He understood.
from a tactical point of view.
You are still telling us about Coach Issa.
Yeah, Coach Issa was one of the best things we did. And I think we have to thank that guy so much. Because he brought something into the camp that we lacked. That was professionalism.
True.
Because you remember all the finals we qualify, then you find in the day of the match, the Ginger one, we didn't even do any training.
We didn't do nada. We just knew
came from wherever we were and entered the pitch. In Chigali, we did a lot of... Remember, we were tired and we did a lot of training prior.
God.
It was a lot of... But this time, the guy would tell you, relax, rest. You'll do all those things after.
So I had this prevented you guys from eating chicken. I had that story somewhere.
We did not, I'm telling you, we were handled like professionals. On what do you eat, what do you not eat, when do you train, how much do you train. I think he was very opposed to us training in the morning of the final. Do you know what that means for our coach to tell you that? Because he had looked at us, he had seen our bodies, and he knew we are not the type of athletes that you give intense training in the morning. So he took us in for 15 minutes.
Yeah,
15 minutes in the morning of the final.
Mm.
Even the 15 year was like, this is too much. But let's go. That's
They
okay.
gave us
Keep
all
it.
the formations, how we should stand in terms of attack,
Exactly.
defending, how we should mark who should mark who.
And
who
I
should
think for
play
us, that's
where.
what won us the game.
Yeah, sure.
He set us up tactically in a way that we have not played before. He did not change anything about our formation.
Sure.
We stayed with the 3-3-3 that we always play with.
Mm.
It's just that we knew the variations and in what moment, if the ball is on this side, if it's on this side, if it's a goal kick, if they have started here, what if we are pressing, what if we're the ones with the ball? We had run through all scenarios, and he had not just taken us through those scenarios once. He took us through those scenarios during training. He did them the day before the final. He did them the morning before the final. He did them minutes to the final. When we were already fully dressed, and we repeated them again with a couple of bottles there and cones. He repeats the drill, and I think that is how we won the game, honestly. Because if you remember that final very well, there was never a point that we were under danger.
True.
I don't think you can.
We had all the areas covered.
Everything was
true.
covered.
And we suffocated those guys to an extent that they didn't have any shot
On target. I don't think they did.
No, they actually did.
Really?
Which one?
There's, you know,
It wasn't even
you
a
know,
shot.
Couldn't have been a
okay,
shot.
okay, we'd consider it a shot. You know, during the game, Owen had pocketed Emma like the whole day. But then there's a time when Owen somehow found himself centrally because Mwenda had somehow gone to adventure or do something. So now the ball comes through because Owen is not naturally a centre back. So I think it's like, I can probably use my leg on it. So Owen a bit raises his leg and he misses. So now the ball somehow passes the side going to the wing. That's where Emma comes in. So now in the moment, Owen is facing Emma, but remember Owen had him the whole day.
Yeah.
So somehow, somewhere, Emma manages to squeeze in a shot inside that one, but of course, catching practice for Lodoi.
Yeah.
So
Should have been a weak
I
one.
think that's the only time I remember them getting a shot at the goal.
Yeah.
Because if I remember the first half of that game, before they got that shot, there's a time somehow there was like a fumble in the middle.
Yeah.
There was like a miscommunication between Nick and somebody.
Yeah.
And then
I think that was the
Bunanga
one. Yeah.
Bunanga
Took
gets a shot that
yeah.
he must
Rocket.
have kicked it to town, like there where that cow is in Fort Portal.
Too much energy.
Too
Must-
much energy. There is a decent striker of the ball.
but
That was one
the
of
problem,
the.
he uses too much energy. He should,
Kick that ball to that cow. I remember. I don't know how you guys did. Maybe
He took a shot like mine.
Eh.
Let's just say he took a shot like
MVP
mine.
Pro Max.
But anyway, I feel like like I was saying, we were so tactically in shape. But then the other good thing is he had noticed some of us and our weaknesses. So he had prepped our mind that I'm going to call some of you out at some point in the game.
Yep.
That's why, as opposed to what happens usually, Disease was not too reluctant to move out because he knew you're going to move out, you're going to come back in. I think Philo as well. You're going to move out, you're going to come back in. And that's kudos again to the entire technical team.
The way we set up.
The way we set up.
You
He had
realize
prepped us mentally for a lot of different situations.
before the final, Nick would always play number 8.
Yes, yes.
But this time, the coach actually called me and the coach.
Yeah.
Sorry, his coach Isma called me and Macheda.
Yep.
He took us separately in a room. He told us this is what we are going to do.
Mm.
Because of Nick's energy, we are going to do what? To put him in that role.
On the 6th.
And me, I was skeptical at first, but he explained to me that I will talk to him personally and tell him not to overmove. His role is to play number 6.
Yeah.
And you realize anytime you have a very, very good number 6,
Barely
the
concede
defense is
goals.
always chilling.
True.
Yes. Because how is the ball going to reach? Especially in a pitch as big as Chegom. You whip a long ball, it stops at the number 6.
So I think our midfield that day played a very, very big role because all the games we've been losing, you find that our midfield.
Yeah, the midfield is.
But that time, our midfield was on point, starting from Nick, Sam, MVP. Then I think those were the top.
Those were the main. The main. Because remember, it's always a 3. So now, for me, honestly speaking, when you speak about the technical department, personally, for me, watching a game in the stands was different that day. Because I remember that day I held my hands like this because I didn't know what I was thinking about that day. It was very serious for me. But now, in between the moment, there's a time when disease is not like showing the hunger for the ball. I'm thinking when you've gotten into a final, you need to be like chasing balls and everything. You need to be putting in the work. All of us from where I was watching from were like, man, we need to get this guy out of the pitch.
Yeah.
And now, as we're still there, the technical team, the bench has called disease like, you move out. But now there's like a lag for like a Camino there. He wants to move out, he didn't want to move out. But finally disease moves out. We're like, hey, disease has moved out. Ah, this is different. So and now Philo moves out. I think Philo didn't really have the game that all of us expected an MVP to have, apart from the chance in the first half where he led it for maybe someone who would be coming to the box that wasn't there. He didn't really appear. And now for us, we're like, no, in between Fido and Disease, they were not having a final. The final was majorly revolving around Sam. And we're majorly revolving around Sam and Nick. Because it was supposed to be maybe Sam Nick winning the ball, Sam recycle passes in the middle, and then you. So we see Disease coming back on, and they're removing Fido. Like, what's going on? What do you guys even mean? Yeah,
I think though, like I'd say, we had been prepped mentally, and for anyone who was there prior to the game, you knew he had made it clear. The coaches had made it very clear that we're going to call some of you off, but it's okay because you will go back on. And I think that's partly why I feel like Disease, as opposed to usual stuff, he was hesitant, of course, as expected, but he still moved off that pitch because we knew. And even a couple of minutes into the game, coaches are repeated it again, I remember. So I knew there will be changes that are unusual. But then also kudos to our coaching staff that knew the players as well. So they knew we can sacrifice here to bring someone in our 60%, bring Yusuf to close in Pedro Jose, that gives us numbers, we can put in Timo on pitch. They were perfect substitutions, honestly. And of course, there is no way, at least from where I sit, I know for a fact that these type of substitutions, especially on balancing the 60-40, were definitely from our normal coaching stuff.
I also think the substitution, I also think that Timo's substitution was like, it was where everything changed from.
Exactly.
Because in between the tactic, that's because I think all of us knew that Kalere was going to be, like, Dawson was not going to come easy in like defending and all that. But then Timo came for Dawson like a lion.
Yes.
And now very many
much hunger.
There's also that photo that pick shots and the team took where those guys were in the air. And Timo was actually above Dawson. Literally showing you that the man Dawson had been sent on a mission.
Waiting to grab him.
So I think that substitution somehow changed how you guys went, because I think the whole second half was actually taken by TY. It was just recycle, build again, recycle, build again.
And I feel like
the thing is, we were hungry.
True.
Because if you see everyone who came on pitch,
must be a lot of
hunger.
Like one night, the moment I knew that we were hungrier than before is when Yusuf came on.
That was such a decent
when Yusuf
performance.
Plays, he's always heavy. You may think he has eaten something. But this time, there's a time when they put a 50-50 ball. It was Albert Kananga and Yusuf. Yusuf actually sprinted like a few, like 20 more meters, but he was first on that ball. Kananga was still trotting. Was tired.
He was tired. At some point, people were tired, honestly. So Yusuf, I can't take it away. I was also tired at some point.
Yusuf gets the ball. He drives it. I think
he delivers across.
That's the route to our goal. He delivers it to Sam. Sam delivers it to Disease. Then the Disease misses that. Then that's when they restart the game. So when they restart the game, that's when we score that game. But that's when I knew when
he was playing that line back to back. I was like,
when they put Owen, Emma actually.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if Emma had more than 5 touches of that ball.
When he did it, he was facing his side. He did not come at us.
The ball was taken away. Every time the only time I would see him on the ball is when he was heading.
Oh, wow. And you see, that was one of our beauty, and that is why I feel like that's where I feel like they went wrong. I would personally, I think I would gamble someone else there to have the presence of my most lethal player within scoring range, because he was doing a lot of defensive work. We're heading balls with him down here in the middle, always in air, heading balls with him in the middle. So what is he going to? Is he going to shoot the ball from the center? I felt like once we had that under control, and it happened again, like it had happened in this game. But here it was understandable, because now you need the defensive work. You're leading 1-0, you need the defensive work. You need everyone to be locked in. In the final, I feel like maybe they were pushing for penalties.
Yeah, they were.
0-0, you push.
Because now, I think, personally, I think where Kalele lost it from majorly was the time when the coach took a gamble and is like, let's increase the attacking and we remove Yowash. Because when Yowash moves out of that pitch like this, Kalele didn't sniff again. All the time it was just Nick, someone is falling here, short. Nick, Sam. So me, I think that's where they.
Kalere, as much as we pressed them, Kalere made some uncalled for substitutions, like the substitution for Kamanzi. No disrespect to my guy, but Kamanzi, you have Lino, you have Burnett, you have Katembo.
And you know they had even Patel. The way
Patel.
they lined up, they had less 40%. They had 3 people, right? They had Alvin, they had Ezra, and Romfield. They still had space for one extra kid.
Space for at least one last try. Then because when they brought in Kamanzi, they pocketed because they knew there was no way. Even if
I know, but I didn't want to talk about it, but I looked for Kamanzi on the Fina. I looked for him, I didn't see him. It's not even a wonder that even when I went to look for him on Twitter again, I couldn't find him. So I'm probably think this is probably something that he was planning from the very beginning.
But when they brought in Kamanzi, even if you play for 20 more years on that same pitch, they say without stoppage, Kalere couldn't beat us.
Okay.
Because we had conquered them, everything.
And the pitch is big. You cannot play a long ball successfully. So now it needs to go through so many bodies.
The ref says like he adds 2 minutes.
2 minutes.
Good.
Actually, it's Owen who saw me. My reaction was, I don't. These are penalties again. Then Coach Isma tells us, you know what? We start preparing for penalties. I remember we had the throw in. I said, man, we're not going for penalties. I sprinted from the back going to hit the ball. Then Coach Isma was telling me, go back. We're going for penalties. I said, man, we're not going for penalties. Then when the Z scored that goal,
good.
actually on the pictures on the man here.
I was just emotional, bro. I could not take it.
I think the best person
I could not believe.
I think the best person that can take us to this goal will be Jose. But the only thing I can take from you guys now is what's like the very first reaction you had after that ball goes through. That ball goes through
Dawson's legs
into
and
the net shakes.
You know, me was at the back. Actually, thought. Because it was unbelievable. I thought actually the ball had hit outside. So
it seemed too good to be true.
And he paused for like 3 seconds.
Because he fell down. So he first went down. He could not believe. Is it happening?
That's crazy. When I saw people running on 2 pitch, that's when
just knew now.
It was a big sigh of relief.
It really was.
Because going for penalties,
it's 50-50. No one.
And you know those guys always steal from us.
They're like thieves.
They always snatch, but this time, thank God we didn't give them the chance.
The celebrations were, I think, a beauty. Everyone celebrated in a different way. I know people who are screaming at the top of their voice. I know some people who decided to make it cross country. For them to just play the run the entire pitch everywhere. Mr. Bamos, what's happening? He's everywhere. I also know people who are just heavily emotional. I know guys who they just couldn't take it in.
Sure.
Yeah, the emotions just got the best of them. They were not running. They could not believe what's going on. Yeah, I think it was beautiful. It was a very beautiful moment. Just to
give our viewers out there something. I think today we're going to pick out the most emotional people on that day, because there's people that I don't even know what to say about the people on that day, but we're going to pick out some of them and really get to understand what actually went through them for like a few seconds. We will just want to know what really happened for them. But
the first person I saw was when they scored the ball, the first person I saw was Josh. Josh.
Labs and Clinics.
Labs and Clinics. The guy ran from the center. He was carrying. Actually, I'm the one who saw the phone. He was carrying a phone in his pocket. The phone fell off.
Didn't hear it.
It's me, the player, who realized that.
No report.
So I instead of celebrating, I concentrate on picking his phone. Pick his phone, looking for the guy. The guy is like 100 meters away from me. I had to give the phone to Kateva and tell him, give
it to Joshua.
That was the first person. Then the second person was there's our fans, the ladies.
May. She was just breaking
down.
And
for me, it was different. I don't know what she was thinking in the moment, but it was different.
It must have been one of those. I prayed for this. God, thank you. It's happening finally.
Really different. But I think she really deserved. I think the fans basically deserved that because you know when you the beauty about the Ntare League is you're going to play a final in one city, then another one, and another one, which means that's transport. You travel in kilometers to watch your team lose. It's really crazy. It is. But I think it was
one of those. I know the Jose's. I think it went down as well, heavily emotional in that moment. I don't think it's celebrated.
I think in the moment we're just going to we're going to get what's Jose, because I think Jose saw that goal coming.
He did. He laid it up.
I think Jose saw that goal coming, so we'll most definitely be getting to hear from him about what happened. Jose, we were still trying to recollect and like get the feel of how this goal actually entered. Because I'm thinking from everyone's point of view, you were directly at the center of the goal. I think tell us what really happened, because the ball just, I think this is my thought. I don't know how it was to you. The ball finds itself at you. You're not facing the goal, but somehow you make the goal happen. So just take us through how that.
First of all, I have taken the longest time to process how everything went down in that moment, and a lot has not made sense. But what I can say for a fact is that I feel like this goal came at the most perfect moments one could ever imagine. Because in my mind, here I am. We just I think someone mentioned the situation earlier on. We just got a chance and we squandered it terribly. Someone skied the ball all over their side, and when we turn back to the ref, he's waving 2 minutes left. In my mind, I'm like, God, this is not what we prayed for. This is not what we talked about. Because I can tell you for a fact, I had so many conversations with God. I had made it clear to God that this is the moment that you decide whether we are winning or we are not. So we squander a chance, and the ref waves 2 minutes left to play, and it's not making sense. Like, it's not adding up. Like, how is it going to align? How is it going to align? So, but now in the 2 minutes left, I did not lose faith. I did not lose hope. I remember saying a small statement to God that, God, just give me one chance. That this is all I need. One chance. I will either score that chance, or I will make sure the team gets a goal from that chance. So we facing for the goal kicks now. If any of you or the fans had noticed, I had not been very present to block the goal kicks. There's something we always did where we stand at the 18-yard box to block goal kicks. I had not done it that much in that game. But in my mind, something tells me, please get on the line and block that kick. And Dawson, who had been swinging in all the goal kicks, he noticed I'd come close to the box, and he moves the ball further away
to give him
leeway, until more space to clear it over. And I'm like, let me just do my job. Let me just be there. I do not know how it happens, but somehow he miskicks the ball. Now, it's a goal kick, it's heavy, and one that you do not expect. So I have like a split second to decide how I'm going to control that ball, what happens after I control that ball. Because the moment the ball came low, the first thing I did was to look at where the goal was and where the goalkeeper was. But everything happened so fast, I do not have enough time to control that ball so that it is right in my face so that I can shoot it right away. So when I control it, it goes a bit distant, which is further away from the goal, and the defenders regroup to come to me. Now, in my natural instinct as a striker, I know this ball is on my left foot, and with my left foot, I know I can shoot it in any side of that goal, and it will go in. But in my mind, I am not sure that is going to happen. I am not ready to take the chance on that one final chance and moment that I asked God to give me. So my mind tells me, try and hold it a bit longer, see what comes out. I remember, I think now it is more vivid in the video of the goal, that Disease actually came to me. Like he came to my, like he literally came forward to me asking for that ball. And I know that is not a position you can score from. I need him to switch up and go into another position where he is more likely to score. And it happens. I turn around. I had already been covered by around 3 players. I think I at some point I could hear someone screaming that don't allow him to move to his left foot. Somehow it was on my left side of the body, and 3 of them had closed down. But somehow Disease peels away, runs into a space, And when I lift my face, he actually has space ahead
good
of
shooting
him.
range, yeah.
So I just release him. And he takes a shot, first touch, which is so
undiseased.
So undiseased like. Disease never takes shots first time.
Hey.
Disease takes this thing and it is his first time shot. I look across, Timo was right there waiting for it in case it did not go in.
Hey.
And then it is inside. Now, in that moment, I lost it. I think your next question will come from that, but from that moment, I lose it. I'm out.
Because
the goal gets in in the most unbelievable situation you could think of, with the least amount of time you can think of, but somehow what I have dreamt about, what I have thought about, what I have created in my mind for weeks comes to pass in that moment. So that is how the goal got in.
So because now I'm thinking after that goal goes in, like it's if we're looking into biblical terms and all that, I think it's just rapture. Because somewhat I got to think that almost everyone was waiting for TY to finally win that shield. Because the coverage from pictures on the drones, on the photography and everything shows that the whole stadium was full, just like how these championship teams get promoted to the Premier League, and right. Everyone jumps from those ends and enters the pitch. Like that's how crazy it was. Yeah, I don't know. Like now for me, I don't know how many kilometers I ran that day. I didn't really fathom that I had. Well, I know I'm faster than people like Mukerwa and all that, but I didn't really think I was going to outpace that full pitch that day. Yeah, because I probably ran from behind the goalpost through the other goalpost. I knocked some guys on the way. They fell. I stood up. I ran this other side, past Kalere side. I wanted to Kane. You know, there's a post I made on Twitter about that car celebration that the Bellinghams did. And some Kalere guy who was still nursing wounds was like, I think you are not supposed to make this post because you didn't play. But in my head, I'm like, boss, my team has scored.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if I'm playing for the team, but it has scored. So I'm like, should I do this celebration? But then I'm like, I know it won't make sense. So I just go shouting Vamos the whole time. By the time I reached near the goal, I couldn't walk. I remember in the moment there's someone that came and carried me and took me back where I was supporting from, because I don't know how you guys feel about winning, but winning this shield meant every single thing. Not only for TY, I think, but not only for TY, not only for the fans, but I think for the whole league. There's a lot of sanity ever since TY won this league. Yeah? Brian went the other day and said that you can now wake up in the morning and type on your phone and say something stupid in a group.
Yeah,
and it's okay. You are champion for heaven's sake.
That's right. Yeah.
I remember there's a Lions League group that we've been a part of for I think like 4 years
all
now.
your commoner seasons.
Yeah, and to be honest with you, there's a point we got to, and you could not confidently post something because you know someone could pick up one comeback against you and you have nothing. Like everything you have to say is just rendered null and void immediately. But now all of a sudden, I can wake up and I just say, guys, good morning. And people will actually respond. And they will, and they're like, oh yeah. So it meant so much for us. It was one much needed win, and it surely came through for us.
Sure. So I think that's just for viewers. I think that's just how TY managed to cook sports in Fort Portal. I think basically on everything that you've discussed, I think it came down to leadership.
Yeah.
It came down to the fans. It came down to mentality.
Very much.
It came down to, I think coaches also has something to do. I think it also came down to, I think God's timing was the one.
Yeah.
Because they don't just put two fingers up and tell you there are 2 minutes remaining and you come through and score a goal out of nothing.
That's right.
Yeah, so just as we conclude, I just want Kagezi now, royal champion, to just tell us what do you think you are cooking for the team next season? I don't want you to break what you're doing in the background about what you're planning to do for the team, but what can you assure the fraternity or the fans of TY out there for the upcoming season?
I think I'm not blowing my trumpet, but I've been captain in other teams, not entirely in Ntare League.
Sure.
But in all those tournaments where I'm captain, I've never lost a final.
Oh wow!
So I
We
think
didn't know that. We were not familiar with that.
That's huge.
because
familiar with
even
that.
if you go in Portal where I've played most of these tournaments, when I go back home, the Christmas tournaments, even back days in school when I was still playing those, when I was still playing league games,
Yeah.
I would rarely, actually, I don't remember a time when I'd lost a final.
Mm.
So even going into that match, I knew it in me that I'm not losing a fight. Even one of my friends in Fort Portal called me and said, I know you're not losing this fight. And thank God we won it. But now for next season, I remember when we were beginning this season in the group, I asked what happens to a person when they take the trophy 3 times. Actually, I've never gotten an answer.
Hey.
I think the admin should give me an answer to that.
Okay.
Because I will assure that the league and everyone, the fans, that we are coming back.
Coming back to compete, yeah?
We are coming back to compete. Is there a team that has ever defended the shield?
Defending.
We would have to get the statistics.
But I
on
think
that.
there's no team that has ever defended the
The
shield.
shield,
Back
I
to
doubt,
back.
I doubt.
Back to back.
Back to back.
So I think we are going to be the first people to defend this.
Oh, wow.
Back to back. And this
Interesting.
time it will be more convincing.
Oh, wow.
That's beautiful.
And these guys are Kalere with their suits, I think. They should try something else because next season it won't be easy on them.
Yeah, that's
But I'm telling everyone that TY Omujuma, we are coming back stronger.
Sure.
Stronger than before.
Sure.
Yeah, because this is a journey we've started and we intend to finish.
Sure. So yeah, I think it's been nice. It's been nice shooting with these royal champions, US champions on the block, inaugural Crichton Cup champions, 2-time test champions, social media champions. I think I saw that mean changing the bio on Facebook. I think that means you just change the bio everywhere.
I know, right?
Yeah, and then of course we'd never forget to speak about our sponsors for the season. Yeah, Clayton Group of Companies, Architecture Works, Engineering. Those should be your guys to maybe build for you something nice. There's people who are planning to get married. Kevin, you're planning to get married. We have very many Bagole. Brian MVP is planning to get married one of these days. You guys should reach out. Steve-O, I heard you're planning something, a vacation in the Maldives or something. But these are guys that should build your house in Uganda.
Collins.
Yeah?
You're forgetting.
Tumukunde Collins. I don't want to out my older brothers inside there. Man, no, I will not say it today. More engineering works. Get to more engineering. I think you guys are sleeping on a lot of work. Yeah, you're sleeping on a lot of good craftsmanship that you might need to like do in your businesses. There's Bongo Hardware has been sponsoring the team from like the time that the team came into the league. That's Chairman Bombeka. I think you guys, at the end of the day, I think the only privilege that we have about being in the Ntare League is that we get to meet like a brand of brothers and get to like share all our works and everything. But well, I think this is all that we had for you guys in this episode. I think just tell us what you think about it. Tell us what maybe you'd want to hear from us the next time. But from us here at Mr. Vamos Dissects and the Royal Champions and the Shield that has been seated in front of you guys from the very beginning. It's been nice. It's been real. Vamos.